Yeah, so basically, I'm just replaying the previous game because my audio was terrible. So I figured out the audio will be much better now. So let me just go through the game real quick. This is a very basic, interesting game that shows the basic sacrifice, uh, a typical attacking plan that White has in this kind of positions. So I start with the bishop opening, which I use because I just want to avoid the Petrov. I find the Petrov kind of annoying places. So I'm trying to get to the Italian game by using this move order. Again, it's still pretty typical. This is one of the reasons why I prefer to play the Italian opening rather than Rai Lopez, the A4. Because with Rai Lopez, you have to move here and you kind of have to go back all the way. And to me, if you're not taking the knight, I don't see the point. I know there's also the Berlin defense, which makes everything kind of drawish. So I like this A4 here. Uh, you'll see when I'm going to now B4. This is a very interesting thematic idea in these positions, basically. So you want to have this sort of pawn structure, which gives you more space on the queen side. So this is basically quite a typical idea in this Italian opening. Basically, you want to utilize this space on the queen side to give more space for your pieces to maneuver. And sometimes you might even play this A5. I've seen it. Again, the bishop moves to C7, queen B3. I guess is yeah, it's still equal. So I have this interesting idea of basically moving the knight to here before castling. I don't know where I've seen it. I've seen somewhere the idea of some grandmaster, uh, doing this move order to basically get the knight to this square, to the G3 square before castling. So here I go. H3, it's typical. I just want the knight to come here or the bishop to come here. Yeah, I guess the engine shows that it's not so good. So maybe I have to check my lines again for this one. Anyway, the game proceeds very typical lines. And d5 is a very typical break for the bishop opening. You'll see it like 90% of the time. And now you always want to try to line up your rook against the queen when you can, just to put pressure and to basically have the possibility of a discover attack somewhere, or like maybe the knight can take here. Yeah, you got to be aware that if your queen is facing up against the opponent's rook, because there might be something going on. Again, the knight moves back and it's a mistake. This very interesting move. Why is it a mistake? So it basically just a tactic here where you can move here and yeah. So you see, this is where the queenside pawns basically comes into play. Sometimes the knight here might run out of space to basically escape. But anyway, I didn't see that. So I only had one thought in this game, which was to basically go for the checkmate. So that's what I do. And yeah, it looks very looks like a good defensive move, right? Like queen moves here and basically defends everything. But no, what I have now, what this does is look at how many pieces are attacking the king right now. The bishop could move here, here, here. There's so many mating possibilities in this position. And so what you want to do when you're attacking is you want to overload. Like you want to have as many pieces as possible, joining the hunt to try and kill the king. Because yeah, the basic rule of chess is you need at least three pieces to attack to basically to have an effective attack that works. So anyway, so here, if you guys can see the move, well, I think about a minute here to basically You always want to do some calculations when there's a critical time, especially when you are thinking of doing a sack. And yes, so this is my move. Knight takes g7. So why do I take this? It's because they don't the king doesn't really have enough defenders on this side. Yeah, there's a knight here, but when you're attacking, you want to kind of try and see if you can make forced moves, moves where your opponent is forced to move. And in this case, basically, once he takes, I can take with the bishop, and he can't move. He can move back. Now you always want to calculate like how many where can the king escape after you make your sacrifice. And if your king moves here, it's checkmate, right? If you can visualize it, right? And so the king has to move to one of these squares here, at which, as you can see, it opens up for discover attack. In this case, is a simple fork here. But if you see here, if if he moves here, there's a discover attack, you know. So bad things happen to your opponent when you take away their defenses. So and you got to remember that you don't have to care about material when your goal is to just to checkmate the king, especially in this kind of positions where you are literally attacking the king and going for a checkmate. Okay, I think that's it for this stream, and hopefully you learned something from this game. This is very basic, typical attacking idea that any chess player should know. You know, especially when you want to be a player that loves to attack. So, which I do, which is why I'm doing these videos. Okay, thank you, and please subscribe, and hope you have a good day.